Whether you're visiting a dentist for the first time or considering a new one, the more you know about who's behind the chair, the better your experience will be. I'm your host, Eva Shea, and on Meet the Dentist, we feature professionals sharing their expertise so you can feel confident about who you trust with your smile. Thank you for listening to Meet the Dentist. I'm Eva Shea, and my guest today is Mark Thoreson, and he's a dentist, but also an entrepreneur, and he's based currently in Gillette, Wyoming. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks very much, Eva. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to a wonderful chat.
Why don't we start with how you became a dentist in the first place?
I come from a medical family, father, general physician in North Dakota for 44 years. My mom was an RN for 25 years in multiple formatted institutions for the RN's levels of skills. I was raised around the entire environment. So I learned how to speak the language, and I learned to use my Scandinavian, it's been said maturity, but
Is that what they call it?
well, that's what I was told. Wow, he's mature for 14.
Yeah.
The North Dakota upbringing and, the mindset of the clinicians there, medical, dental, chiropractors.
Mhm.
There was one at the time, and optometrists. I dabbled with a potential optometry career. Let's see. But motivation
This
was
is a
these
small
are
town, right?
this
was
is
your dad the
populate.
only GP in the town?
No, there were four,
Oh.
and there's even a hospital in Mayville, North Dakota. Still is. But they pull in specialists now for 25 years. For 30 years, they pulled in specialists from Fargo and I think Grand Forks on a regular basis now to provide extra of the specialty type care. But the hospital is functional, and four physicians in the same clinic that service basically a 50-mile radius, just touching the borders of good old Fargo and good old Grand Forks. So I saw all of that. But I also saw the mentality before all of the distance medicine that could be done now and has been done, and the rotational satellite type activity. Before all of this, these four physicians were the cowboys. They were the leaders. They were what you could do. And, I watched my dad handle trauma he would drag me along as a teenager. Not into the ER necessarily, but it was, the guy came in holding his arm way above his head with his own belt wrapped around his arm, that kind of stuff, to trauma, injuries.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't for them,
farm accidents, car accidents, things like that.
My dad rotated through with all the physicians as county coroner. That's all they had. There was no medical examiner. It was just those guys. And I say that with great love and affection. My dad was in the military. He was a flight surgeon in the Air Force back in Vietnam. And because of all those experiences, added a significant amount to what that crew of four doctors could do. So I'm infamous for a 10-minute answer to a 10-second question, but I got to see all of that. I got to witness all of that. And in dentistry, as much as it's a complete departure from medicine, it's fascinating. And the amount of technology that back in the 80s growing up and finishing high school and getting into college, there was not digital anything. Okay. But the advanced nature of what the restorative dentistry could do. It's one thing to see my dad splint and cast and help a broken arm, or to take plantar's warts off of somebody's foot. Okay. Is that bad? No, because it fueled a lot of what I was looking at. But in dentistry, it was rebuilding the functionality of the mouth and taking away pain. And as much as dentistry is still associated with pain, and that just is what it is. And
I like your illustration a lot, because it also sort of suggests to me that your dad wasn't above anything. Like he just did whatever needed to be done.
And there was even routine veterinary services that he provided, because I
was going to ask, and then I thought, no, there's no way he did animals, but he did animals too.
Because his dad, my grandfather, whom I never met through a family story of his own death from leukemia, in fact, a form of leukemia that is easily fixed now. He died a month before I was born. So in the womb, I heard his voice, but that's as close as I ever got to my dad's dad. But he was a classic country veterinarian, finished at Ohio State in 1921, and 1,000 stories. But the perfect illustration is literally that, which is a photograph that I saw of his Model A converted by taking the front wheels off, adding them to the back, the whole axle, differential and everything to the back, wrapping a canvas strap around, a homemade canvas strap around both back, all four back, and then hand carving 6-foot oak skis mounted on the front. There's a legitimate photograph of this. So he was out with stripped to the waist in 0 degrees, birthing a breech cow. And my dad got to see all of that. So I was dragged along for those, I was introduced to, giving an injection to a dog, my dog. Okay. But in terms of that stuff, people would come to my dad about, this horse and he would be able to handle some of it. So again, foundational concepts and experiences for me to put me in the mindset of, okay, I've chosen dentistry because it's frankly, nobody calls a dentist at 3 a.m. to solve their problem.
Was there also an element of being able to see the results of your work instead of, things that are internal inside the body that are never visible?
Yeah. Yes. Because hopefully, and if things go well, the patients come back for their cleanings, prophies, and then you get to talk some more and you get to, continue with the record process. In dental school, I really got an itch for endodontics, root canals, and became very proficient and enjoyed that a lot because that was higher tech. But the detective work, this is true. This is a good way to put this. The detective work of diagnosing what's wrong with this tooth. Is it alive? Is it dead? Is it in the middle somewhere? Is it going to come back if we provide these procedures? Try to think of a way to do this more comfortably, cleaner, faster, smoother, so that the ultimate result, and this carries over to this day, is better experience for the patient. Yes, pain is solved. Yes, problem is solved, not Band-Aid, not this pill for this symptom. And that's a 2-hour discussion by itself. But do it, fix it, because I'm responsible. And I take that on myself.
This particular example you're giving, I have a recent personal experience with, which is that the detective work you're describing is, so, you get a root canal, it's probably fine for a long time. At some point, some of those root canals
Fail.
They fail. And so then what? Well, now we're doing detective work again. When I found myself in this situation, I didn't actually believe, well, let's say that the information was presented in an extremely fuzzy, vague way that left me with the decision that I could not make because I don't have the education, the experience, or the information to make that decision. And so it set me on a journey that ended in losing number 19 is not in my mouth anymore. It's probably a whole episode just because I've been working in patient experience for so long. I overanalyze every single piece of it. But, the theme that recurred throughout all of it was the trust piece and what builds it and what erodes it when you're the patient and somebody is an expert in front of you. And making me make decisions I'm not capable of making is not the way that you build trust.
Not at all. And trust is a multi-million-dollar word. And it's not just the dentist who's in responsible for that. It's the entire clinical team. And in fact, the front office team, which builds that familiarity, the comfort. I don't want to restate what you've just done, but whether they say it or fully even recognize that the word is important to them in a dental experience, trust is king. Because if you break it, and in the previous podcast, I said, I was speaking about dental assisting at the time, and I still have great love for dental assistants. And I will turn myself inside out to make one of them better and help make them. But they have a huge role in that patient by patient, hour by hour value building and education with the patients is a huge part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And as doctors snap off their gloves and walk away to go do something next thing, because as you know as a patient, and all patients that have had experiences like this, the doctor sees or spends something like 20% of the time of the scheduled visits with the patients. Otherwise, they're with the rest of the staff. And when the doctor walks away, it's super common for the patient to turn their head and say to the dental assistant, "What the heck did he just say?" And so it's super important for the dental assisting professional, because they are,
Yeah.
be able to relate on human terms, because that's how the patients see you. You're not a doctor, and they don't mean to say it negatively, but doctors are intimidating. They tend to talk fast. They tend to blizzard people with information that is not necessarily understandable, because it's 400 syllables in 86 words. It takes 38 seconds. And because we say those things over and over and over and over and over again. It's all loops. It's all tapes
Yes.
that we have just created, and we have to land on the stuff that gets the point across. And not necessarily as I'm the boss, I'm the leader, I'm the doctor, shut up and do what I say. It is human.
It is
And
human.
what I've learned in my patient relationships and my intentional goals of finding out, what do patients think? What do they want? What's up with you? Because patients, yes, they must trust us to some extent. Otherwise, why would they sit in our chair voluntarily, open their mouth voluntarily, give their consent to touch them in places that are the most heavily guarded mentally, emotionally, psychologically in the body? So we have to propagate all of that and keep it going that way. That's part of that in the dental team is a gift. Part of that is skill. Part of it, believe it or not, my dad used to say it too, medicine is an art. It's science, it's a bunch of skill, but it's also an art form. And that, it's true. Because not everybody can be trained to do these things that interact with people in every conceivable spectrum of comfort, discomfort, fear, not fear, verbal, not verbal, all of that.
Right.
And so what I've boiled it down to is, and I say this in my Inflatrix pitch, patients want three things. Please do a really good job. Please do it very efficiently, which in their mind means fast. And please, please don't hurt me. That's what money is out there somewhere. But if money was a major issue, they just don't come.
My entire experience, I would say 90% of what the staff was talking to me about, if not 100%, was insurance doesn't cover this. It's your problem. And I understood that before I even showed up. And so, as a whole, I actually went through 5 different offices in this journey.
Mhm.
I felt like if anybody had made empathy the primary thing we talked about, like, I'm sorry you're going through this. We're going to
You're
help you
not
figure it
wrong.
out.
You're not bad.
We do this all the time. We're really good at it. There's a
Yeah.
million things they could have said, except for you're out of network. Here's all the work you're going to have to do to get this paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I actually knew all of that before I showed up. Why didn't they say, how much do you know about how insurance works?
Right.
That would have been a much better way to start. And so I've thought
Mhm.
about this a lot because I that's what I like to think about.
Yes.
I want to get to the Inflatrix because you've mentioned it a couple times, and I'm super curious about what it is.
Yes. Okay. Inflatrix came from my idealist young newbie rookie dentist who wants to save every possible tooth. And the methods we were taught are still being taught with only minor variations in what's known as restorative dentistry. Everybody else says fillings, how to put fillings in people's teeth, what materials, how long does that take, what are the techniques, what variables, and that's all. Goes back, honestly, the technique itself goes back more than 100 years. And there's only been very little modification to that's positive of those techniques, the systems, the items, the supplies you have to buy, the filling materials. this quote silver fillings, silver amalgam, or some say silver alloy, etc. Silver fillings that are half mercury, and that's a 3-hour discussion by itself.
I've had that one.
They work. They're cheap. They're fast to work with, and they do the job that has been described for them for 100 years. I'm not saying they're bad. Well, then why the heck are doctors moving away from them in droves? Because there's better. And the bondable, some people call them plastic fillings. And that the assumption with word plastic means that somebody melted down old toys and made them all white to match tooth colors, and now we melt them in your teeth. It is not the case. Plastic is not the right word, but it conveys the concept. Composite resins are what they are. And they are, that's it. Again, I trained this, so I could go in great detail. The point is they match tooth color. The bigger point is that they also, because of the chemistry that's involved in getting them to stick to the teeth, is so good and so strong that they add strength to the teeth when they're in place and done right. They strengthen a tooth. Silver does not do that, ever. Never has, never will. That's why doctors are moving away from, quote, silver. But in the places where public dentistry, free dentistry, public health, the military, I have kids in the military, bless them.
I asked my dad about this recently, and he said, "Why do you think my teeth are so bad?" Pastor's kids. My dad was a pastor's kid, and the dentists all did the free dental work on the pastor's kids, and my dad is in his 70s now, and his teeth are a disaster.
Yeah. So, my angst stemmed from the requirement of when you put a filling into someone's tooth, and I'm going to do this as cleanly as possible. I have a whole video about this, but not the point. That place between our teeth where we're supposed to floss, when there's a cavity there on the side of the tooth that meets the tooth next door, the doctor has to cut a specific hole in the tooth very, very particularly and with a great intent and requirements. They have to get rid of all the decay. Cool. But when that's done by bonding, or even if they have to shove silver in the tooth, and I say that purposely because that's what it is, they have to put what amounts to a stainless steel necktie around the whole tooth, and then a terrifying looking multiple screw stainless steel device that holds onto the band, tightens it in 2 different directions. But the major point is that wall, the definition is an artificial wall against which new material is to be condensed. Who cares? The point is that we don't want to shove the material into the beautiful hole and have it scooch out the bottom. Because if it does that, it's a dental word, by the way, scooch.
Yeah, that's the technical term.
Yeah. But we have to create a seal. And that's done by wooden wedges, plastic wedges that get up to the clinician, how many? Because then the filling goes in. And if it's silver, it's just crammed in. And if it's the composite resins, it's put in various, very, very elegant ways. Okay. And then those of you patients, you've seen the super blue light, super bright light that they have to have all the shielding because it's super intense. Some are even have lasers that cure it instantly. But that's hardened right there. Okay. That process pulls the tooth together. Here's the problem. The methods of holding said band, and it's not always a whole band anymore. It's a partial band that gets wedged in. And then there's this ring clamp. And I use the word clamp on purpose because it hurts. Shoving the wedge in between the teeth hurts. It hurts. And if you're numb, well, a lot of dentists sleep well at night because I do beautiful anesthesia and the patients don't feel that. You're right. At the time, they don't feel that. They feel pressure. We sleep at night because we say, is it pain or is it pressure? And the answer is it's a hell of a lot of pressure. And it's placed pressure at a very rapid pace by forcing a wedge between teeth and making them move. Is that a crime? No, it's been done for over 100 years and it's still done every single hour today in dentistry. That was my problem. My patients, when I called them afterwards, they were not numb anymore, but they were still sore. I don't like that. I don't want that. Patients don't want that. And they will say that in a heartbeat. If there's a way to make it less painful, sign me up. Okay. The answer is Inflatrix. It is a 2-piece, I have this. I'll do my best to keep it in focus. 2-piece polychemical, not The actual material science is something that I vaguely understand, but try to explain it as a waste of your time. It's soft, it stretches, and the other end of it connects to a little syringe that's filled with water that every single dentist possesses and has hundreds of them.
Right.
That twists in, that goes between the teeth when the hole is done the right way. Then a little pressure on the syringe fills the device with water. It expands and holds itself in place. No wedge, no band, no ring, one thing. And when you're all done, you've created a seal and you've allowed the material to go and build that contact again so it'll floss, snap floss. Then the most beautiful part, throw it away. Thank you. The fun part, and this is true, Evil, you'll love this. I'm a huge James Bond fan, huge. And I was watching GoldenEye a few years ago. If you're a Bond fan, you know GoldenEye. And Bond and Q are in the basement at MI6, are looking at gadgets as they always do. Q was scolding Bond about pay attention or don't you dare break this or whatever it is. But in the background is a telephone booth. And as they're going through their Bond Q repartee, a hapless MI6 employee walks into the phone booth, picks up the receiver to make a call, and a huge airbag explodes inside the phone booth and forces him into the corner of the phone booth.
I remember
and
this.
My remote control went flying up in the air, and I ran out of the room. My wife got, "What's the matter with you?" And an hour later, I came back with the first drawing of Inflatrix.
What an amazing story.
It was a true spark, a true flash. And that was quite a few years ago, several years ago. But since then, and 3 years of bootstrap capital, full-time attention by me, and we're in our fourth and very close to final prototype now, clinically, with clinical proofs. We're going to go to market by the end of the year. I have a marketing team. I have a consultant that has launched more than 200 dental products for startups, some of his own. I have a funding outreach underway for angel capital, because the biggest challenge right now is producing the first bunch of devices that go out to my influencers. And I dare say I was invited to go to Florida 1 week from today for a dental influencer boot camp being led by dental influencers. So I can elevate Inflatrix by having myself more recognizable. That sounds like a total boast, but that's what's going to be when investors talk to me and talk to anybody, frankly, about investing, giving money, they want to know, and my engineer has put this most succinctly, but also nicely, which is investors really want to know if the horse is something they should bet on, but they're most interested in the rider.
Well said. Yes.
I thanked him for that. I've used that dozens of times, and apparently I'm a writer. I'm a CEO. I'm someone who's lived this, who is passionate about this. Inflatrix.com, if anyone is interested, go look. Inflatrix.com. I have a webinar that's reachable by way. I have a monthly newsletter that's going out fairly soon. Goes out to thousands of dental personnel around the country. And we're, again, soliciting investors. If anybody's an angel investor, I'd love to be in touch. We're looking for something on the order of 400,000 ballpark, because that'll get us production. And I have really positive feelings about having the device actually built in Wyoming. Gillette will be the world headquarters because we will go international by the end of, say, 24 months. But we have 36 months of projections. We have dollars and cents figures, expenses, team building. I have an advisory board, 8 professionals, 6 of which are absolutely pure dental and have raised their own processes and businesses. So validity is something I'm hoping to project here, along with the absolute passion for the fact that I think I can make restorative dentistry better for patients, because the comfort factors of the patients who have been surveyed after the use of Inflatrix, myself included, I was patient 0 a year and a half ago. I had the first filling done with this. And
you're not just the president.
No. I'm passionate, and sometimes I've had to learn to rein myself in and stay on the playing field here. But I love it, and not only is it something that's a passion, but it's also my future. It's the culmination of all the work that I've done as a clinician, as a teacher, educator, as a course creator, as a sales professional in multiple companies in the dental vertical market. We have 2 patents on Inflatrix. I have a trademark on the word. The FDA says 510K exempt status. It's a class 1 medical device. Let's build this thing.
Yeah. What I like about your James Bond story is a lot of people, I would say the majority of people who have big ideas, that's where the whole thing ends, is the idea, and then they'll tell everyone the idea, but they don't actually move forward to make the ideal something real, and you're also not gonna quit, because that's the
Yeah.
other thing, is that success comes from just being unwilling to quit.
Right. Yeah. Quit's a 4-letter word. Stop that. Um,
Mhm.
uh, it's ironic and kind of silly to say stop quitting.
Yeah,
But
just don't quit.
right.
It's inevitable. So, did you leave Washington for Wyoming?
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
and because the Pacific Northwest business climate is terrible. It's terrible.
it's not good.
And it's restrictive, and they don't want you to do business, really. They want you to do
No.
business their way, in their format, under their circumstance. No. Okay. Just like I'm not developing or having anything built in China. I've seen and talked with people who have said that some of the output of their product is phenomenal. Yes,
Mhm.
but it's also stolen, and I know it,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Uh, so be that as it may, here we are. We're going forward. Uh, we have goals. We have everything set. And I'm thoroughly grateful for your opportunity that was presented. My Travis Rogers, my mentor and consultant, gave me your name.
Mhm.
I tout Travis as many times as I possibly can. Travis is on the cover of Dental Entrepreneur magazine for the 2025 summer issue, and it's worth picking. If you're a dental person, go get it, because he is worth every nickel of what people pay him, and I know because I do it. Uh, in fact, he even brought along 3 of us that are his clients and put articles from us too. So I have an article in that magazine, page 34 and 35, if you're interested. It's called How I Scratched the Dental Inventor Itch, Dentist Inventor Itch. And it tells my story.
I'll make sure we link that in the show notes so it's easy to
Well, thank you
find,
very much.
and I'll read it too. Well, when I met Travis, I actually looked him up on LinkedIn like I always do, just to get a feel for what people are doing, and he was had a first-degree connection with my cousin. I texted my cousin, and I said, "Do you know this guy?" Sometimes we don't always know the people we're connected to on LinkedIn, and
That's right.
he immediately wrote back and said, "Absolutely the best. I've known him for decades." So, yeah, I can at least secondhand vouch through my cousin for
Yeah.
Travis.
Yeah. Travis has an incredible group of frameworks and systems. And not only
Mhm.
is it the abilities to meet people and introduce, which he does regularly, but he
Uh-huh.
hosts a monthly pitch podcast. No, I'm sorry. It's a pitch
An
event.
event? Yeah.
Uh, and there'll be connection information in that magazine article about ways to connect with him to that. If you want to pitch, show up out of nowhere and he'll give you 3 to 5 minutes. But 80 to 90 people, most of which are dental professionals, and a significant number of those are investor mindsets. I've pitched every month for a year. And through his coaching and some of the resources he has provided to make me a better
Yeah.
pitcher, a better speaker, uh, invaluable
Do you get feedback on your pitch then?
every time.
That sounds really interesting. Like, it should
Yeah.
be its own podcast. It should be a podcast.
Uh, he has, yeah,
I'm gonna pitch it to him. Let's take the pitch contest and turn it into a pitch podcast.
right.
What I was curious about was your dad. You grew up in a small town in North Dakota, in
Which is
in the
redundant, by
actual
the way.
middle of
Yeah.
nowhere, right?
Yeah.
But
Mayville, exactly in the middle of
Mayville,
Fargo and Grand Forks.
never heard of it. But I'm from the big city of Minneapolis and St. Paul,
Right.
and so yeah, I mean I wouldn't know rural. Actually, I do know some of the rural Midwest, because when I went to college, our orchestra tours were always to those towns.
Yes.
So there were some North Dakota ones. Like I have been to Devil's Lake. I have been to, have to really look at the map to come up with the other ones.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot more time in Iowa than North Dakota. So there you go. In your free time, you're also a musician.
Yes, I'm a barbershop baritone. It's one of my professional goals to create a barbershop chapter here, because along with all of the other incredible things that energy money has built in Gillette is a place called the Camplex. It's a place that hosts an annual RV rally where I believe 1,000 RVs are held and hosted in the same area. They host concerts there all the time. Huge. The U.S. high school rodeo finals are held in this facility every other year. Something like 20,000 people, 25,000 people show up. Population of Gillette doubles. But how does that relate to barbershop? Well, barbershop has international competitions. Let's bring the singers in to sing in this incredible facility.
Why not?
Yeah. So, barbershop is one of my passions. And I learned that out in our time in the Pacific Northwest, huge activities there. But also I fly kites. Imagine there's wind here in Wyoming. You're right.
Yeah, there is.
And
if we go back to the fact that I've read every C.J. Box book, I know because wind farms play a huge role in the storylines of these books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, energy. And in fact, the latest thing is that Gillette has just been chosen as the manufacturing site for nuclear fuel. In the latest generation nuclear fuel, and not waste. They had a public event just 2 days ago at the Camplex where they filled the auditorium with locals to give their feedback on what do you like and what do you don't. And because they're going to build 250,000 square feet, 200 jobs full time. It's going to go into production in 4 or 5 years because it takes that long. It's nuclear, so they have to all, the permits and stuff. But outside of the coal industry, which has been here for generations and been one of the cornerstones. I mean, they call Gillette the energy capital of the United States because 35% of the electricity generated comes from coal mined within 100 miles of me right now. But it's not forever, and they know it. And so hence wind and solar projects have been put before the legislature, and some of them go and some of them don't. But it would be the number 2 largest solar project in North America. But now nuclear fuel and uranium is being mined all over the state. Huge.
Wow. I didn't know that.
But then it's got to be sent somewhere else to be made into fuel. But this company chose to come here. And so that's the biggest energy news. How does it relate to Inflatrix? It relates because Inflatrix is an absolute 180 departure from the energy business. And to have economic diversity on that scale that's when I spoke with the governor, and the governor said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Dental advice." I went, pitch. And the governor said, "Wow, talk to so-and-so in my administration to figure out ways that we might be able to support you." And that's been under development. Those relationships are there. Yeah.
Jobs and
hopefully
opportunities and growth and all the good things. And when you live in a state where they prioritize that, everybody wins. Well, let's go back one more time and let the audience know where they can find you.
As far as Inflatrix goes, it is inflatrix.com, as previously spelled. I'm guessing you'll put it in the grateful that you'll put it in the intro. I also train dental assistants.
Oh yeah. Why don't you tell us a little more about that before
that separate business, my wife and I have significant skills backgrounds over that's a whole hour by itself. But we train a dental assistant program. I run the whole thing. It runs on Saturdays and Sundays over 6 weekends. So it's very much a boot camp process, but it's basic skills. In Wyoming, at the moment, there is no law that stipulates what sort of credential someone must have to enter a dental assistant career. Dentists have been hiring people off the street, daughters, friends, church congregation members, fellow students, whatever. And I'm not shaking my head like it's a bad thing, because some of them stick. And some of them have been 20 years because Dr. So-and-so sang next to me at the alto section in church choir. Fabulous. Okay. They learn on the job. This is a formalized training program. And I've been training for 25 years with some gaps in the middle, but I've trained 108 people to be brand new dental professionals. So that's part of it. That's wyprofessionaltraining.com. There's Facebook presence for both of these. Inflatrix is all over social media, LinkedIn particularly. But there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's a YouTube channel that we're working to get more coherent. We also offer a business communication and soft skills course for anybody who sits at any front desk anywhere, or who just wants to get better at working with the public, because we have all those skills. So we train that. That's an 8-hour course or a 24-hour course. That covers it. I'm super thrilled that you would be so welcoming, Eva. This has been really fun, and I hope we can stay in touch. I would love to support you as best I can.
I do too. I'm going to order you the first CJ Box book so you can read it. So thank you so much, Dr. Thoreson.
It's been wonderful.
There's no substitute for meeting in person, but we hope this comes close. If you're considering this dentist, be sure to let them know you heard them on the Meet the Dentist podcast. Check the show notes for links to this dentist's website and Instagram. To be featured on Meet the Dentist, book your free recording session at meetthedentistpodcast.com. Meet the Dentist is made with love in Austin, Texas, and is a production of The Axis, TheAxis.io.